Hi everybody, this is Jesse with Cratejoy. Today we're going to be going over our webinar regarding the essentials of email marketing. This is a webinar we held on September 1st. A lot of you have been asking for a recording of the webinar. Unfortunately, when we originally did the webinar, we weren't able to export it. So this will be a little bit of a condensed version, still featuring all the same content, all the same questions from you, but a little bit shorter of a version. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so as a part of this webinar, we are focusing on one specific type of email marketing. And what that form of email marketing is specifically bulk/marketing promotional styles emails. There's a difference between transactional emails and bulk and marketing emails. And what transactional emails are specific action-triggered emails relating to customer accounts and actions that they take, such as signing up, shipping of boxes, canceling, renewal notices, those types of actions. These transactional emails are emails that you'll be able to find in your Cratejoy dashboard when you go to notifications in Cratejoy, which we'll explore a little bit later. And these are different than actual bulk marketing emails, which are promotional emails created by us and then sent to customers in order to encourage sales or other specific actions like following us on social media or something like that. For the bulk of today, we'll be looking at marketing emails, the promotional emails that we'll use during the holiday season or just throughout the month to get more customers from our leads list or the list of customers who have signed up to get our emails. So that's just one important thing I want to start off with is to understand the differences between those two types of emails. From there, I'd like to just jump into a couple points on why you should be considering email marketing. You might be running this business by yourself, and it might seem like a lot of work to do to take on a whole other operation of working through email marketing, in addition to your social media and customer service and all these different things. But email marketing ultimately is one of the best ways for you to get more customers. And there's 6 reasons here that I laid out. You can read the full article on the bottom. There's a link, and you'll be able to download this PowerPoint too, and actually click the link up through to the article. That just kind of highlight a couple different reasons why email marketing is so important. The first one is it's more effective than just about anything, especially than social media. When you have people signing up for your email lists, you have people who have already opted in to receive notifications and communication from you, so they're more likely than just about any other channel to sign up for your service. And as a part of that, because it's people who have signed up for your service, it's usually more economic and cost effective. The only real cost that comes to email marketing is your time, and then if you use any extra tools or deposit photos or something like that. But relatively, it's cheap compared to social media or pay-per-click advertising or other forms of advertising to get you customers. Another really cool thing about email marketing is it's highly customizable. When you get people's emails, you can also ask for their first and last name. You can even ask where they're from. And using that information, you're able to customize your emails to a much greater extent than a social media campaign, for example, where you're kind of just doing a kind of a spray and pray type of approach. You're targeting a general type of audience. It's much more general than an email marketing where you can actually call people by their first name. Also about email marketing, it's very action oriented. When we're crafting these emails and the emails that we'll be looking at later, there's going to always be a call to action in every single email. Whenever we email a customer or a potential customer, we want them to take some specific action, whether that's signing up, maybe it's buying a bonus box, or maybe it's following us on social media or something like that. And because it's so action oriented, that makes it very easy to get results and also measure those results. And email marketing is extremely measurable. Just about any email client you use, whether it's iContact or MailChimp or something of the like, all of them are going to have insights and data for you to interpret after you've sent a campaign. And the last reason why you should consider email marketing is because of the proliferation of smartphones and mobile devices. There are more people on their phones now than probably ever before, and more phones than ever before have email apps built right into them. Personally, I check my email probably 50 times a day just from my phone. And because more people on mobile means you're going to have more interaction overall. So if you want to read more about why you should consider email marketing, like I said, you can click through this article, you can do a couple quick Google searches, but it's probably the smartest form of marketing that you can be doing and the cheapest. So I definitely suggest it. And I think it's a real wise choice for any business. If you're thinking about different email platforms, here's a list of MailChimp alternatives. I just wanted to provide this so you can see that there are different MailChimp alternative services out there, whether that's Instant Contact or Emma or GetResponse. Now, I would suggest using MailChimp mainly because MailChimp integrates directly with Cratejoy. We'll look at this a little bit later too. Specifically what it does is Cratejoy can trim your list for you, so when you have people subscribe and then cancel, MailChimp will directly communicate with your Cratejoy dashboard to make sure that your active subscriber list is accurate. MailChimp is also really easy to use. It's easy to make lists, it's easy to design campaigns, they have lots of drag and drop templates, it's really easy to interpret their insights and their analytics. And they have a great way of setting up automations and drip campaigns, which we'll be checking out directly after this. So talking about automations, automations are emails that are take actions automatically. They're similar to transactional emails, which we chatted about earlier, but they're still different. Whereas a transactional email might be something regarding to an order notice or to canceling a subscription. An automation, it could be like a welcome email when they first sign up, but it also can be a series of emails that's just meant to encourage a specific action of any type. So it can be a drip campaign for someone who's been subscribed to your service for a long time. Automations, you'll have a certain set of parameters when setting up automations, and you can define your lists, and you'll basically be using these automations to try to get people to do some specific action, whether that's resubscribe, buy a bonus box, or do something else, or just learn about your business more. And what this really deals with is lead nurturing. And what lead nurturing is building the relationship with your lead, and a lead is just a potential customer. So if you're taking emails from people through a sign-up form on your site or through a pop-up or something like that, these are all considered your leads. And you want to nurture those relationships with your leads so you can convert them into customers. So kind of with the basic understanding of automations, we're going to go through and actually how to create some of these automations and campaigns in MailChimp today. So if you do have MailChimp, and if you're already using it, I suggest hopping into your dashboard right now. We'll give you a couple moments here to pull up your own MailChimp dashboard and see if you can get in there. If you haven't set up MailChimp yet, just go to MailChimp.com and you can create an account pretty quickly, where you can actually start to look at these things in tandem with this recording. So let's just let this go for about a minute here for you to get that set up. So when you start working through your automations, there's a couple steps that you'll be taking. The first one is defining your list. And what a list is a list of emails and names that you've gathered from customers. These are customers that have entered their email in your sign-up form or through a pop-up. And when you set these things up on your website, you'll have to have defined a list in MailChimp to actually get them all compiled to a specific area. So when you set up your list in MailChimp for the first time, which we'll take a peek at really quickly, it's pretty simple, but basically we define our list. We choose a workflow, which is a set of emails or a single email that we want to send customers. We'll then create those emails, and then we'll schedule those emails based on the time, the day, what order they're in, and then we'll queue them to send. So let's check this out in MailChimp here. So we're going to hop into the slideshow. And so this is the MailChimp dashboard. It'll look this exact same way for your MailChimp. You'll see some analytics down below. You'll see some campaigns from the past, but in the top left corner is what I want to draw your attention to. We have campaigns, templates, lists, reports, and automation. So automations are what we're going to be talking about first. Before we do that, we're going to look at the list section just so you understand how to set up a list. So we can see here a series of lists that we have set up in this test account. And these are all just different people based on different things. They could be from Instagram, they could be your canceled subscribers, they could be maybe a list of people from a blog that you've created, or maybe they're a list from your pop-up subscribers. So when you want to create a list, you can just go up here to the top right corner under Create List. go here, go ahead and create a list here. You can give the list a name, the default from email, so maybe it's, support@yourbusiness.com, whatever it may be. Default from name, the business team. A short reminder about how they joined your list, your company's business address, and then you can choose to get notifications sent to you. So a daily summary, which shows you who've subscribed and unsubscribed, one-by-one emails, as notifications happen, and then unsubscribe notifications, they happen too. So it's super easy to set up a list. So let's say you've already set up a list, you want to grab your emails from your Cratejoy dashboard. What you can do is you can go straight to my.cratejoy.com. You can go to your subscription section. Go ahead and you can choose a subscription status. You can just download all of them through the export feature in a CSV, and once you get that file there, you can go back to your lists, and let's say you're editing this list here. You can easily add subscribers manually one by one, or you can import subscribers from a CSV, or copy and paste from a file, or use some other integrated service like Salesforce or Zendesk if you use that for customer service or something of the like. So I'm going to return back to dashboard here. So let's say we've got our list set up now. We've got a list of active subscribers, we've got our list of pop-up subscribers, and now we want to create an automation for this group of people. So we'll go back up to the top left corner, and we'll click automations here. Under automation, we're going to be creating different workflows. And so to create an automation workflow, you just click this top button here that says create automation workflow, and you'll see the first thing that you need to do is define a list. And when you click select a list, you'll see the same lists of lists that you just saw in your MailChimp dashboard. So let's say we want to create a workflow for our pop-up subscribers. So these are people who have opted into our emails from our pop-up that hit them on our Cratejoy site. So we select our list, and then we choose our workflow. And there's a bunch of different workflows that MailChimp suggests. You can make a custom one. You can basically do about whatever you want with it. Let's say we want to create a welcome series. So we know that people have signed up for our email. We know that people are interested in getting our emails, and let's give them a series of emails after they've signed up for our pop-up list that tries to, at the end, get them to take the action of subscribing. So we'll go ahead and select welcome series. And then it's going to start to push us through the workflow configuration. And what the workflow configuration will be the meat and bones of your actual automation. So you'll give your workflow a name. So pop up to subscribers. Will have the from name, so the name of your business, the from email address, the name of your support email address, or maybe it's a specific email address you'd like for your MailChimp, whatever it may be. You can set up some specific tracking fields. You can do personalization up here in the personalized to field. So if you're gathering people's names, you can use their names directly in the subject lines that you'll be using. If you are pushing for a sale, you can directly connect this to your Google Analytics account. So we'll go ahead and just click that box there. And there's some other things that you can do too, which I definitely encourage you to explore. Setting up goals, tracking stats in Salesforce if you use it as a CRM for maybe merchants. But once you've got this all set up, we'll go ahead and click next in the bottom right hand corner. So here's going to be different triggers, and what triggers are a set of rules basically that need to happen when people in order to get this automation. So for example, this first one is imported subscribers will be added to this workflow. So when we import subscribers to our pop-up subscriber list, like the way we just did it when we looked at our Cratejoy dashboard, or just as people naturally sign up, they'll automatically now be added to this workflow because of this specific trigger that we've set up. So then let's move on here to go to the emails. So now we're in the email section of this. So we've set up our list. We've set up how the list is going to work with our to and from email addresses, what it's called, if we're going to be tracking this in Google Analytics. We've set up a trigger to define who's going to be added to this workflow. And now we're actually at the point where we're actually going to be creating the emails inside. So we can just see here they have two options, add 5 emails, add 1 email. You can click this one, add 1 email a couple times if you just like to have 3 or something like that. You can see just click add email. Add email. So maybe we want to have a 3 email workflow for our welcome subscribers. Once you click these 3 out, it's very simple to customize this. First off, you can see that you can change the delay. So I definitely suggest for your welcome series of emails, you have the first one go out within a day. So you can even have it set to hours or immediately. I might just have it set immediately. So as soon as people sign up to this list, they're going to get this welcome email. You can see the other one maybe too. We want to have this 4 days after, and maybe this next one 6 days after. If you want to get a good schedule of when to do this, we have a PDF that's also available on Subscription School's video link for this presentation. You can see. Let's just take a peek at it really quick. This is what it looks like here. The Essentials of Email Marketing, which is a PDF, like I said, that you could be able to download directly from, and we can pull this up too. Here's the PDF, and on the automation best practices, which is page 2, you'll see that there's a schedule here. First 24 hours, for 10 days later, from 10 days later, and it's basically 5 emails that we suggest with kind of general time frames of when to set up these automations. So if you want a little guide when you're actually creating this workflow over here, you can just click over to the PDF and you can kind of get a good sense of what it is you'll be scheduling and when it is you'll be scheduling it. But let's hop back into the automation. So once we've got our emails set up, we've got them scheduled and delayed a certain way. On the right-hand side, we'll see that there's the design option and there's a trash option. We don't want to delete these, so let's just go to design email. And now that we're in the email itself, we're going to design the specific attributes of this email automation number 1, which includes setting the subject line, and the same thing, the from name and the from email address. We can see we've already got the Google Analytics title set up because we select that initially in our workflow. So, a good email subject can be, welcome to the, business name family. If it's sock box or weightlifters box, welcome to the blank box family. You want it to be something that people are going to recognize. A lot of time can be spent on email subject lines, and there's a plethora of information out there on what works well and what doesn't work well. I generally see that just having this welcome message here gets pretty high open rates because people know they've signed up for it. They're going to be looking for that email in their inbox. So you don't have to really think too much about this first one, although you can. So once you've got this set up, we'll go to the next in the bottom right hand corner, and we'll begin to select our templates. And this is one of the reasons why MailChimp is really cool, is that they've got a lot of different templates to choose from, and you can do really crazy customized emails, with 3 different rows, 3 different columns, or you can just do really simple ones with 1 column, and it's all drag and drop too, which makes it really easy. So let's select the 1 column one just for simplicity's sake. And we'll see here, now that we've selected our template, we can just directly pull in from our right side here our images in different spots. We can add more box text. We can add social links at the bottom. We can add just about anything we want to these emails. And it's really easy to upload emails into these, or upload images into these emails. So you just hit browse. You can see previous images that you've already uploaded, or you can upload brand new ones. As you see here, when I put my mouse over the upload button, MailChimp also shows you that you can just drag and drop these in there. So if you have them on your desktop over here on the right, you can select them and pull them right in. I would definitely suggest taking a little bit of time and working through what you want this to say. As a quick demonstration, I'll hop out of this automation and we'll take a look at the welcome email that I have set up. So this one's called Pop-Up Subscriber Hello, and we can just do a campaign preview. So this is using the same exact template from MailChimp right here. So this template, where it's a couple images, some text, some social buttons, it's the same exact thing I'm using. So it's thanks for subscribing, a little offer introduction here, here's 10% off anything, a little picture of what the product is, the code that they can use, and then a short little message. You've subscribed to Prosperly's newsletter. Now you can get a special discounts, exclusive announcements, and great deals right in your inbox. Oh, sounds really cool. Even better news, I reinforce this offer that I have stated a couple times here, and then a nice big button to get your box. And as you can see here, this blue text is also links. So one thing that I've done here in this welcome email is I've reinforced the brand. So we can see the actual product. We remind people what they actually just subscribed to. We tell them thank you. It's awesome that they sign up for a newsletter. Want to show our appreciation for that. And then also I included an offer a couple times and really reinforced it. You can see it's listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in this email. But it's not overwhelming really. You look at it as a consumer and it just kind of looks like a regular email. It's not like I'm throwing out super huge text or really crazy colors necessarily. It's just kind of as you read through the email, it helps you kind of remember that you have this offer, and hopefully it sticks in your brain. So if you do want to subscribe in the future, or you want to get a one-off product or a bonus box from Prosperly, you know that you can get that using this code thank you. Take some time, create an email that looks, something like that. Maybe it's completely different. You definitely don't have to go this route that I did. You can use more images, you can use fewer images. Generally, we see the best success in our emails at Cratejoy and at Prosperly and at the previous ventures I've worked at. More visuals, less text. If you're gonna have text in there, don't leave it like this. Come over to the right-hand side, maybe adjust the orientation of it. Maybe change the color. Do something that's gonna kind of make it pop out or something like that, to really draw people's attention to it. Since you've got their attention so far because I opened up the email, and you want to make sure that you use a lot of really great visual elements to keep that attention, and more importantly, to direct their attention towards what that is you want them to do, i.e. subscribe to your business. So once we've got our email set up, we can save and close. And you'll move on to the next, which is advanced scheduling and segmentation. So you can choose what days you'd like this to be sent on. If you remember when we first set up this workflow, we had it defined as set automatically or immediately. So you can see here at what time should it be sent as soon as possible, whenever the conditions are met. And so it's kind of a basic. So I would honestly just leave this as every day and as soon as possible, and then save and continue. Let's say you work through your 2 or 3 different automations, and like I said, I definitely encourage you to go through this automation best practices guide and look at what we're actually suggesting to send on day 4 and send on day 10 and send on day 15. The welcome email can be like the one that I showed you of mine, where it's confirmed that they've subscribed, and it kind of gives them an opportunity to use a discount or something like that, but it basically just reinforces their branding. But the next email should be maybe a sneak peek or maybe a special look in your box, maybe profile some past boxes. The third email could be another educational email. Maybe it's something about your family business. And then a little bit later, maybe it's a deeper promotional offer. And then at the last email, maybe it's like a really deep promotional offer where it's like, 5% more than you ever really offer. Because at the point of, 30 days after they subscribed, if they haven't turned into an actual subscriber yet, maybe it's price point, maybe, it's something else that you need to change, or you're tweaking your email. So maybe it's, your last email is vastly different colors. Or even ask them, what's keeping you from subscribing, and then you can get some notes from them. As a note about these workflows, keep in mind that these are really flexible. It really depends on your business, who your customers are. So take some time and really dive deep into what it is that defines your customers. Look at your Facebook page, look at your insights from Facebook. And try to determine who actually are your customers. What do they look like? And when you think about those things, come back in your automations and work through these workflows with that knowledge in mind. Maybe change your colors around a little bit. Maybe update your workflows every month or every other 2 months or something like that. And use your insights to see what's working and what's not working. So let's say we've worked through our automations here. We just after we finish designing these last couple emails, we're gonna go ahead and hit next, and then you'll see here this gives us a couple errors because we didn't actually finish defining these. But you'd actually just at the end of this, you just confirm it, and you'd hit click start workflow in the bottom right, and then this would immediately start working for you. So let's say someone signs up to your email list 10 minutes after you've created that workflow, they're going to start receiving that email right away. So before you start sending these emails, or before you start your workflow, make sure that you are prepared, that your emails are designed and that they're totally ready to go. So I'm just going to delete this pop up to subscribers one, just so I don't confuse myself in the future. And then after you've done your automation, you'll see your automation workflow will look like this. You'll have a total number of sends, total number of open rates, clicks, and it'll give it to you in percentages too. But after that, after you've created this initial automation workflow, I suggest kind of going through your list and seeing if there's different workflows that make sense. Maybe it's just not for your pop-up subscribers. Maybe you create a workflow specifically for your canceled subscribers. So after someone's been added to your cancel list, they started getting this other whole new flow of emails that's maybe enticing them to come back, but basically gives you the opportunity to recapture those customers because you keep on pushing a new sale or something like that. Or maybe if you have a blog set up, maybe you have a very specific workflow for your blog readers where it emphasizes content or where it emphasizes something that they might have read on the blog or something like that. So you can get really creative with these automation workflows, and frankly, the more work you do here, the more reward you'll see later. You'll see more people redeeming your codes. You'll see higher conversion from canceled subscribers back to active subscribers, and you'll be able to measure different behaviors from your different sources and your different email lists. So with that said, we'll jump out of automations now, and we'll actually go into setting up regular campaigns. So let's just take a quick back into our PowerPoint. We've set up our automations, and campaigns are similar to automations in setting them up in MailChimp, very similar actions that we'll be taking, but they're a little bit different. These aren't going to be automatically sent out. These are things that we do one time. We set up an email, maybe it's for a bonus box, maybe it's for a special sale, maybe it's 24 hours before the cutoff date, but these are one-off marketing and promotional emails. Different than transactional emails, different than automations. If you want a campaign to be sent out, you have to set it up yourself, and then you have to actually click the send button. But it's very similar to setting up an automation. Also, you can see a note here. You can see the ebook for send times and days. We'll be going over a little bit over best practices after this, but just so you know, we do have send times and days and what's a good time and what's a good day to send it. But let's jump back into MailChimp here. Back in the top left, you'll see here's the same menu. On the left-hand side, we want to go to campaigns. As you see, it's a similar layout to automations. It's the list of different campaigns that we've sent with their statistics. And you can see here, it's the same way. Top right corner, create a campaign. And when you click that button, you'll get this screen first, which was different from the automations. But we're just going to click regular campaign. You can do different campaigns. Plain text is a plain text email, like the type of email you might just send your friend, just asking how his day was. So no pictures, no special formatting, just a very plain text email. A/B testing refers to splitting a group and sending two different types of emails to the same group. So it mentions here that you can send up to 3 variations of a campaign. So let's say you have a group of 1,000 people and you want to figure out what best subject line works, what content works best, what visuals work best. You can create a single campaign for a single group and then send out 3 different versions of the same campaign at the same time. And this is really good for testing. So you can do that. And then you can also do this RSS-driven campaign, which is just sending content from an RSS feed to a list, which we won't worry too much about now. But for now, let's just go ahead and click regular campaign. So here we can see, so to which list shall we send? So same thing as setting up an automation. We need to select a list of people that we want to send this to. So let's say we want to send this to our launch list, the list of people that we got when we first launched our business, and we want to send the entire list. So once we've defined our recipients, we'll go through the setup. And this screen will look a lot similar to the one setting up our automation. So here we go. We want to name our campaign. So we'll say launch list notice. Let's say this is like, I don't know, the 10th time we sent to them or something like that. Email subject. This can be vary about a lot of different things. I would definitely suggest considering the content. Let's say we have a special promotion going on, a lifetime discount, and it's only for the next 3 days. So let's just say we just scored you a lifetime discount. 2 days left. Another cool thing about MailChimp is you can add emojis, which are little tiny pictures, to your subject lines. It really depends. Some emojis don't work very well. From what I've read, the ones that work the least are with this little magnifying glass. I've used that before and seen success with it. I definitely just would be mindful of what you're including. I don't know when you might use a shower head in your emojis, but kind of go through this list here and see what might work. The idea behind these emojis here, if you're not familiar with emojis through text messaging, it's just really just to grab people's attention. In your email inbox, it'll show a little image next to the email subject line. So imagine yourself, put yourself in your customer's shoes. You're going through your email inbox, you see a subject line, and maybe if there's like a little, maybe if there's like a little mouse or a little turtle next to it, you might capture your eye or something like that, or a little snail. It's kind of cute. Anyways, so add emoji if you'd like. Define your from name. You can see there's a little typo here. Add your from email address. And then, like I said, you can choose Google Analytics tracking, so you can see exactly what sales you get from this. You can personalize the to field based on their first names if you've captured that. And there's a couple more options here. You can have it auto post to Facebook. Personally, I don't like seeing it. It's not really a beautiful post in Facebook, and I don't think that it's really interesting to share on the social channel, so I personally have that not set up. But you can if you like. You can also auto tweet it if you want to connect it to your Twitter. And also here in the bottom right, always make sure that you authenticate your campaign. The main reason you do this is to make sure that it can be delivered to everybody. Gmail, Hotmail, all these different email providers. One of the things that they do for us as consumers is they protect us from spam. And so if you authenticate your campaign, it helps you appear as MailChimp says, legit. It helps you appear legit to these email providers, which means the deliverability will be better for your campaign. So if you email 1,000 people, you're probably going to get all 1,000 people to actually receive that email. Whereas if you don't authenticate the campaign, there's a chance that maybe 200 or whatever number of people might not even receive your email. So authenticate your campaign every time. It doesn't really require any work from you. Just click that button. So once we've got our setup finished, we go back to our template section. We've worked through one of these templates before, but for this one I want to show you another one. There's different themes that MailChimp offers, so you can use these if you kind of want a little bit more design. And there's also these saved templates too. So if you've done some templates in the past that have worked well for you, you can save them and you can then re-access them in MailChimp. So you can use those same templates, or you can source directly from your campaigns. So you can see all of your campaigns that you've ever sent out here, and you can just select that same template. Finally, you can also code your own. And what coding your own is if you actually are pretty tech savvy and if you actually know how to create a campaign with HTML and CSS and those types of things, then you can just paste in your code, you can import the zip, or if you use another mail provider who allows you to create more beautiful emails than MailChimp. For example, I initially used some campaign monitor templates, and then I used the URL from campaign monitor and I uploaded it into MailChimp because they offered some better themes than MailChimp at the time. You can just import it from a URL too. So let's say for this one, I'm going to use a saved template of this, we'll just select this 1-2 column, which was a Labor Day email that I sent out to people, so it kind of shows a special offer, sneak peek in August, and these 2 different offers down here, and this kind of looks nice, so I was like, okay, I'll just use this template again. So when I'm setting up this campaign, I want to make sure that I define my text better, so maybe this is for maybe like Cyber Monday or something like that. 30% off the Cyber Monday. I'll go and I'll change this picture out. I can just replace it right here. I can see the image dimensions right here at the top too, so I know what image to make in Photoshop or whatever program I'm using. I want to go through here and finish creating my text. I want to make sure my button's URL is correct, and I'm sending it to maybe like a very specific one, Cyber Monday, or something like that. I want to replace these images. Basically, when you're creating these campaigns and working through a template, be pretty diligent with this. The nicer that your emails are going to look, the better click-through rate you're going to get, and in effect, the more sales you're going to get from it. So let's say we've completed our design, we've got our offers in there, we've uploaded our new photos. From there, we just hit save and close. Go ahead and hit next in the bottom right. And then we'll see these next kind of list of this next little checklist here. We've defined our list. We've got our subject line. Previews the subject line right there. It shows you who, if they reply to this email, where's it going. It shows that we've chosen to track this. It's an HTML email. We're not sending out a plain text email. We're not sending out an A/B test email. We can see here a plain text email version will be generated and included automatically. So if a customer, for example, maybe they have a terrible internet connection or something like that, they'll be able to still read this email in plain text. So all the text that we included, they'll still be able to see. And we can also see that we've authenticated it. There's a couple other different options down here, social cards and monkey rewards, which have to do with including your social media and referring MailChimp, but I sometimes don't include those. From there in the bottom right, we can see that there's a schedule and a send button. So if I just clicked send right now, it would automatically send this email out to these people. If I click schedule, this bottom part is gonna pop up. Now, what makes scheduling really cool is that you're able to choose specifically when and on what day this email is going to be sent. And as I mentioned before, our Essentials of Email Marketing PDF will show you some different best practices. So let's jump into those best practices really quickly. So if you need a link for the ebook, you could get it right here. It's subscriptionschool.com/video/essentials of email marketing. And this is what the ebook looked like. So we were checking out before. So when it comes to email marketing best practices, what we're thinking about is time of day of the week, and what exactly we want to accomplish with this email. So we've included a couple different graphs here, which when you download this, you'll be able to zoom up. Because I understand it's kind of small right now. I'll just make this a little bit larger, and we can actually see the days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the actual times: midnight to 4 a.m., 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., etc., etc. So you might be asking, Jesse, when's the best day to send an email? Honestly, it really depends. It depends on what you'd like to happen, and it depends on your audience. So generally, if you ask a professional email marketer, they'll probably tell you it's all about Tuesday. And frankly, I've seen a lot of success on Tuesdays. The logic being is that we just got back into work. It's not Monday, so we're not super stressed. It's Tuesday, so we're kind of like we got caught up a little bit. Maybe we're checking our emails a little bit more at the office, or we're just kind of a little bit more relaxed. We've parted ways with the weekend. We're just kind of a little bit more. It's like the best time of week because we're not stressed out from the end of the week, and we're not stressed out from the very first day of the week, Mondays. Nobody has the case of the Mondays. So Tuesday generally tends to be the best day for open rates and click-through rates. But if you look at this chart here on the top right, you'll see it's a factor of 1 or 2%. So if you send emails, on Wednesday, you might have 1 or 2% lower open rate, which can be significant depending on the size of your list. But if it's only a few hundred people or 1,000 people, you're really only talking about a couple dozen people. So maybe just test it, see what works best with you. You can see here the only day that really rivals Tuesday is Saturday, which is something that which is something that we're going to explore a little bit more. So Saturday, generally a lot of people aren't working, so they spend more time on their computer or on their smartphone, and so they're looking at their email a little bit more. But what's different about Saturday is generally, the amount of purchasing that happens on that day is a little bit less. So even though it has a higher open rate and maybe even higher click-through rate than the other days of the week, like Friday, for example, it might not actually generate as many sales. Like I said, test it. We can see some notes here. So while the earlier weekdays generally have higher open rates, the end of the week and the weekends tend to see higher click-through rates, which is the rate at which people click through the email to your source, i.e. your website. So this has created the view that more actionable requests like signing up should be sent later in the week, while educational pieces should be sent earlier in the week. So you've got a lot of people opening your emails early in the week. Maybe that's initial interest about a product, and then later in the week, maybe closer to payday, you're actually sending the actual sales email. The bottom line is there's no best day for every email list. Just test yours. The next question is, what's the best time of day? Select the day of the week. The time of the day differs and sees different results based on your list. Generally, though, late night and very early morning tends to do the best. It's usually because this is before people have gone to work. They're checking their email first thing in the morning. or they're kind of sitting in their bed or first thing in the morning before they've really done anything. So then you see higher open rates generally in the morning. So emails between 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. tend to see higher open rates as well. So this is when people are back from work. They're kind of winding down for the day. So if you're going to be sending a sales email, it's probably not smart to send it at high noon. Most people are going to be at work. Maybe you'll catch some people, during lunch or something like that. You can see there's a slight little uptick on the 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's slightly higher than the hours before. But still, it's generally, if you want to send something, send it first thing in the morning or in the evening. So you can see the different suggestions here. Mid-morning emails is usually the best time, or usually the time that sees the lowest open rates due to most likely people being at work. Afternoon emails see slightly higher open rates, and evening emails see also higher open rates. Another interesting thing about this with testing is what I like to do is I like to test this in conjunction with testing Facebook posts or other social media posts, is look at the engagement that you get on social media, and that might give you a better clue as to when to send emails to, because ideally or most likely the people who follow you on social media are probably pretty similar to your customers. So if you post stuff at 6:30 p.m. and you always get a ton of likes and a ton of comments, just a lot more interaction, it performs much better than your other posts, maybe try sending out some emails later in the day. I feel like the most prominent advice I hear is send it Tuesday morning. So if you send emails Tuesday morning and you're just not getting the open rates and the click-through rates and the sales that you want, just test it. Test different times of the day, and try to, like I said earlier, try to really drill into what your customers actually look like. Are they older? Are they younger? Do they go to school? Are they out of school? Are they some type of specific professional? Are they creatives or something like that? Are they bass fishermen? When do bass fishermen check their emails? Do a little bit of research, and that's when the timing is really going to show itself to you. Kind of wrapping up the timing and the best practices, the next best practice we want to go over is subject lines and what to do to get high click-through rates. I hate to sound like I'm flogging a dead horse here, but again, it's just dependent on your audience. You just got to test it. The best subject lines that I tend to see, and the best subject lines that appeal to me, are the ones that are most conversational. I honestly rarely will ever open an email that says something like 10% off this thing or something like that. But if it says something like, hey Jesse, we just got you this sweet deal, like, even though it sounds kind of informal, it just kind of resonates with me a little bit more. It's dependent on your audience. If you have an audience that's really interested in vegan food, maybe use some specific buzzwords from veganism. Or if you have people who are really interested in weightlifting, maybe use some specific buzzwords from weightlifting in your subject lines. So an example of that would be, maybe with a vegan example, maybe a subject line is something like, is this the only form of ethical beeswax, question mark? And so it kind of intrigues the vegan, because a lot of vegans don't eat insect products, animal products of any type, which includes beeswax and honey. And so if you kind of tickle that part of your audience, that they're interested in that type of thing, maybe you can get them to open that email, and maybe at the end of that email there's a call to action to buy this honey alternative. Or maybe you have a special bonus box for, animal product alternatives from some specific region of the United States, or something like that. But trust your subject lines like that. Maybe another example for the weightlifting ones is something like, this one simple trick will make you double your gains, or something like that. And, the word gains is something that people always use in weightlifting. But by using that word in the subject line, it'll stick out to those types of people more, rather than just saying, here's 10% off this protein powder. That doesn't sound maybe as interesting to those people as, here's one simple trick to make your gains. So test it. Consider the content. So what are you actually emailing people? Are you emailing people an offer? Are you just emailing people some educational thing? Are you emailing people, a call to action to donate to something? All those different things can play into what your content says in your subject line. We can see here, consider emojis. We kind of went over emojis earlier, but these are small little pictures that attract the eye. So for example, with the vegan subject line of, is this the only ethical beeswax? Maybe the emoji uses a little bee or something like that. So that might help increase click-through rates and open rates. And then finally, like I said, test. What does your audience like to see? And a little bit in regards to testing, just in case you've been wondering, is we will look at insights and data in MailChimp here in just a moment. For click-through rates, this is going to be the percentage of people who opened your email and then clicked through to your website or click through to what it is you wanted them to click. These are really important, if not more important than your open rate. You can have an open rate of 100%, but if you have a click-through rate of 1%, it shows you that there's something wrong with your content. Click-through rates are really good indicators of how successful you are at executing the content within your emails. So it's all about design. Make your call to actions very clear. Use large, clear buttons. Make clicking through to your website very easy to do. If the only link in your email is one small piece of hyperlink in some paragraph of text, you're probably not going to get a high click-through rate just by virtue of it being difficult to see where you want people to click. So make things clear. Use buttons. Use bright colors. And then ask yourself if the request is clear. Is it really clear what you want your reader to do? If it's something about ethical beeswax, what is it that you actually want your reader to do? Is it buy a product? Is it click through to an article about something? Is it follow you on Facebook for more updates about this really important thing? But ask yourself, what is it that I want people to do, and am I making it clear for them to do it? And ideally, you should only have like maybe one call to action in your email. It's buy a product, it's click to this article, it's follow us on Facebook or something like that. Don't have all of those things at once, because they can only click once out of an email and then they'll be at a specific destination. They can come back to the email and click again and go back to the email and click again, but that's kind of painful and I don't think a lot of people will be doing that. Also, when you're thinking about click-through rates, test the positioning of your call to actions. So I generally see that having call to actions higher up in the email, closer to the top of the email, works better than having them lower at the bottom, mainly because people have short attention spans. So if you've got them to open the email, there's a nice beautiful picture, there's one line of text, and then boom, there's a button. Like that would work better than having a couple lines of text about your bee products, and then another picture, and then having a call to action at the very bottom of that. Unless your emails are like really engaging and you've demonstrated that before by testing, that your audience is going to read your emails, these really long emails, then keep those call to actions at the higher up of the email. A good example of something that kind of goes against that concept is if you sign up for any nonprofit organizations, or you sign up for a specific maybe it's like a focus group or something like that. Generally, those types of emails are much longer because they know that that's just something that you're inherently interested in. So if you have a blog, for example, maybe you can have slightly longer emails with your blog list. But ultimately, the same thing applies. Just test. And as one tip here, wrapping up the subject lines and click-through rates, MailChimp does offer a subject line researcher tool. So when you actually set up your campaign, let's go back here to the beginning of this. You can actually see the subject line. Let's go back here to edit subject line. And you can, this little button here, how do I create a good subject line? You can use this to research specific terms. So if you were thinking about using different terms, whether it's sale or offer or discount or ethical or vegan or whatever it might be, you can research those specific terms and they'll give you a star rating based on that. So that's kind of a cool tool about MailChimp. So now that we kind of understand subject lines, how to nail those, click-through rates, how to make sure we get high click-through rates, I want to jump into just a little bit about interpreting data and insights and actually how to understand the success of your subject lines and the success of your design. So we're going to go back to MailChimp here. You can see, I'm just going to hop back into campaigns. You can see here's the email we just created. We can see here that we haven't actually sent it. There's no check mark next to it. But now that we're back in our MailChimp dashboard, you can go over here to reports, and this is when you're going to start to be able to analyze your data and your analytics. When you initially go to reports, you'll see all of your lists in one big overview, so it makes it look very lumpy. I don't know what's working here. I don't really know what list it's a part of. It's kind of difficult to interpret this. So when you are interpreting your data here, the first thing to do is come up here to the top left and choose the list which you want to interpret. So, for me, one of the most interesting lists to constantly analyze is my pop-up subscribers. These are people who subscribe to my email list via the pop-up on my website. And so here's a trend of those of these subscribers and these emails that I've sent. So you can see it's actually been trending downwards, which is not good for me. So what have I been doing differently from these earlier months than what I'm doing now? Is it because my subscriber list hasn't grown much and these people are just a little bit saturated with my emails? Is it something else? Is it the subject lines? But what I can do here is I can click on these specific points in the campaign. I can look at the campaign that I set up. I can look at the specifics of it. I can look at the 24-hour performance. I can see which links were clicked, and I can just see here. I can even view the email. Maybe it's something I did with the design. Maybe my design was really good here for some reason. Maybe this was an especially clean design for whatever reason it was. Or maybe it was just a really good offer. $100 value box, that sounds really great to people. So when I'm looking at those reports, I isolate my list. I start to look at my campaigns. Maybe I want to look at my lowest performing campaign compared to my highest performing campaign. And then I can go back and I can look at what did I say, what visuals did I use, what was my subject line, where were my call to actions at, was my design vastly different, what colors did I use with my design, and using this data and these insights here make it really easy for me to determine what's working and what's not working. So we can see here this Labor Day sale email that we actually worked through initially earlier in the webinar. It's performed lower than anything else. Maybe that's just because I sent it at 1 o'clock on Labor Day. I wasn't really prepared for the holiday. It just wasn't a good time to send something, and now I know that. As an email marketer, I know not to send things at 1 p.m. on Labor Day. So it's just a good test. Also down below, you can see a quick list here of all the campaigns, which you can put your mouse over to see opens and clicks. And over time, you'll get a really big, long list of emails that show you just exactly how well things have been working and what hasn't been working. So when you think about reports and data and insights in MailChimp, I would suggest the only other thing to kind of have alongside of this data is conversion rates on your website. So if I knew that I got 15 sales on Labor Day or 10 sales on Labor Day, even though this email may have performed worse in open rates and click-through rates, maybe those people I got to click through were actually really qualified. Maybe they were really interested. So maybe my design was great, but it was just the timing of it that was bad, because I can see the amount of sales I had on that day. So have your Cratejoy dashboard up. Maybe if you had a specific coupon created, you have the coupon up. You know that your thank you email or code or whatever it was, your picnic code that you sent on that day got 33 redemptions. And so even though this was a low day, I know that I know that I got lots of sales from it. So I know the design was good, or the landing page was good at the time. When it comes to analyzing these data and insights, it's just kind of just a rinse and repeat type of thing. Really look at each different list, analyze things, take time, just kind of maybe once a month for one day. You just go through your MailChimp and kind of look at what's been working, what's not been working, and then use that data and that feedback to make your future campaigns better. So kind of wrapping up the data and insights section, there's a couple other little notes here that we like to cover before we wrap this up completely. With data and insights, the one really important thing to realize when you're trying to adjust things in your campaigns is minimize your changes when you make the changes. Don't just change everything and then compare these two vastly different emails to each other. And what I mean by that is when you're trying to correlate success or failure to specific changes you've made, if you change your subject line, your design, your colors, and your call to actions, you don't really know which one of those things, if any of those things, really led to the changes in your campaign success. So for example, if you want to send out an email for Cyber Monday and you want to see what's going to be working better, maybe make 4 or 5 different campaigns or do the A/B split and only change the subject line and keep all the designs the same. Keep all the call to actions the same, keep all the colors the same, and have them all sent at the same time. And then you can see exactly what a part of the subject line makes a difference in your campaign. Or the same thing goes with your calls to action or your colors or something like that. Just change the colors. Have the exact same design of the email, but just change it from from orange to brown to white or whatever it might be, and then you can see what color works as best as my background. The idea here is that you want to be able to attribute success or failure to specific changes you've made, and if you make too many changes at one time, it's really difficult. It's actually impossible to correlate the changes or correlate the success of those changes. So kind of wrap that up. Just pay attention to your subject lines, pay attention to your pictures, pay attention to wording, pay attention to your call to actions, and adjust those things subtly and individually at one time. Don't change them all at once. I've also highlighted some different questions from the webinar that we received. We got a lot of great questions from people, but I thought that these 4 were some of the most important from the webinar. So the first one is, how do you customize notification emails with logos and photos in the Cratejoy settings? And does that have to be done through MailChimp or some other mail service? This was a really good question because of our initial conversation about transactional emails versus email marketing. What this person's talking about with notification emails, those relate directly to the transactional emails in our Cratejoy dashboard. So under settings, under notifications, there's a whole list of customer emails that we sent out. These right here are all transactional emails, like an order receipt. When they bought a product, they get this email sent out. So the person was asking, how do we customize those things? This is what it looks like when you work through notifications. This is what my welcome email looks like. It's really not that fancy. In fact, it's kind of atrocious if I want to be honest with you. But you look down below and you can see how you can edit these emails. It's through Cratejoy's specific kind of HTML little dashboard here, where you just type in your different colors, you type in your different text and stuff like that, and it affects these things. When you restore the default, I think it's pretty easy to work through this. I've done quite a bit of customization to this email, but one thing that we chatted about in the webinar is, instead of using, like you can see here, I currently have the welcome message on. A to-do that I have now for this business is to turn this welcome message off and instead create an automation workflow specifically for subscribers. So when people subscribe to the box, not subscribe to my newsletter, but subscribe to the box, instead of getting this welcome email that's really difficult to design in Cratejoy, they're going to get this really beautiful email that's really easy to design in MailChimp. So to answer that person's question, it doesn't have to be done through MailChimp. It can be done through some other mail service, or it can be done right in Cratejoy. But the way that we'll do that in MailChimp or another mail service is actually going to be through creating an automation workflow, or some other type of a workflow that we define through our different lists. Maybe it's something that we send out manually once a week or something like that. But basically, if you don't want to work through this platform here of Cratejoy's, pull the lists into MailChimp and create workflows around it, and it's really easy to make beautiful emails there. Another question people had that was I thought was really important to go over was, how did you create a canceled subscriber list if the MailChimp app automatically deletes canceled subscribers? So if you remember earlier on in the webinar, we said that one of the reasons to use MailChimp is because it integrates with Cratejoy. It trims your list. And what we mean by trimming your list is when you open up your Cratejoy store and you go to the apps, you have the option to use a MailChimp app. So I'll go to the App Store here. You'll see under available apps, you can install it for free. You can see that I've already installed it. I go to MailChimp, and I can define a subscriber list based on my MailChimp settings. I've already got the setup for my MailChimp, so I can just choose my current subscribers. And this button right here is prune canceled. And so when someone canceled, Cratejoy will send a message basically to MailChimp that says, take this person off of Jesse's subscriber list. And then my list here for current subscribers will then have that person removed from it. And so what the person was asking in the webinar was, how do I have a canceled list? You can see here I have a canceled subscriber list right here. So how did I create this if Cratejoy is automatically pruning these for my current subscribers? So the way to do this, and I would definitely suggest doing this, is to create a canceled subscriber list in your MailChimp account. You go to your subscriptions, go ahead and click regular subscriptions. In this panel here, you can see subscription status. Under subscription status, we want to go ahead and click canceled. We see we have 146 subscriptions within this filter. And then we want to go ahead and export this current filter. This will create a CSV of canceled people. I can open the CSV. I can see specifically all the different people's emails. When they canceled, their specific locations and that type of thing. We can see a bunch of different test accounts. So what we'll do back in MailChimp is we'll then go to canceled subscribers, and then we'll go to add subscribers to this. Actually, really quick before we do that, let's just say we want to create a brand new list. So we haven't created a canceled subscriber list yet. We go up to the create list. We'll go here to create a list. We'll name the canceled list canceled subscribers. We'll give the default from email, the from name. We'll create the list's basic information like we did before. Now we have our canceled subscriber list, and then we'll add subscribers to it, which we can import through the CSV. So we'll import subscribers through a CSV. We'll go to next. Go to browse. We'll go to the downloads, and we'll go down here to the bottom, which will show that. I'll select that CSV. We can see here if I import too many more people, then they'll upgrade my billing plan. And so I'll go ahead and hit next. And we have 29 unmatched columns. This is because it's got a bunch of different columns here. So maybe what I should have done is gone through here and just deleted all these other columns. Delete these. We can see we can keep people's names if we'd like. I'm just going to delete those just for the simplicity's sake of this. I'm going to go ahead and hit save on that. Hit continue. I'm going to go ahead and hit. I'm going to skip all those columns. Will not be imported. And then we go ahead and next. You're all set to import, and I just hit import right here at the bottom. And so that's how I've created my canceled subscriber list. So for example, if I want to go through, and I'll just go ahead and import these people, just because it looks like I haven't imported people for a while. I've got 67 people and there's 140 in here. So there we go, and our import's complete. So I can refresh this. We can see that there's 104. So the reason why there wasn't a bunch more people on there is because we can see in my email list, I've got a lot of duplicates. I've got a lot of test emails on here. But basically now I can go through here and I can see all these different emails, and I can even go through here and be like, oh, that's me. I don't want to have all these different emails in here, so I'm going to take off myself here, and I can take off myself here, and yada, yada, yada. I'll just delete these people. And I can go through here and I can kind of keep this pruned up and make this list as accurate as possible. Another thing that you can do with your canceled subscriber list to kind of follow up that person's question is if I want to go back to my Cratejoy dashboard, put my subscription status to active, and then go ahead and do the same thing. Export my current filter. Open this thing up. Let's go through and just delete these cells really quick. Delete, and then delete all of these cells here. Now I just have a list of my emails. I'm going to go ahead and hit save on that. And then under the same canceled list, just because maybe I want to make sure that my canceled subscriber list is staying as up to date as my active subscriber list, and because that doesn't get automatically updated through Cratejoy, maybe I want to go back here and I want to manage my subscribers and I want to unsubscribe people. And so here's all of my active subscribers right now. And so I know that I want to go through here, unsubscribe these people, and make sure that you can see here that number went down from 98 to 95. So I had 3 people who had resubscribed at some point. And so now my canceled subscriber list is up to date. It's got all my new canceled subscribers. I've made sure that none of my active subscribers are on this, so I can send them different promotions. And so now I've got this refreshed list. And so that's how you create the canceled subscriber list in your MailChimp. And again, this is really useful because it allows you a group of people that they have high open rates, high click-through rates. These are people who might come back and buy product from you again because they bought product from you before. Next question is, when someone joins your email list and then converts and Cratejoy adds them to current subscribers, do we have to manually remove them from the automated list? So what this question means is this automation list is what they're referring to. Do we have to automatically take them off that list? So if you don't want someone to be receiving an automation, for example, they joined your pop-up subscriber list and then they also subscribed, so that they're technically part of two different email lists, pop-up subscribers and current subscribers. If you don't want that person to be receiving the automation you've defined for your pop-up subscribers, yes, you would have to go into your lists, go ahead and go to manage subscribers, unsubscribe people, and then, for example, here's our we know that we have our active list. I'm going to go ahead and unsubscribe all of my active people, and we saw one person came off that list. So now I know that that one person isn't going to be getting the automation and getting different offers and asking them why they haven't subscribed. So that's a good question. The only thing that the MailChimp app does in Cratejoy, the only automation it does is prune your canceled subscribers. So if you want to make sure that your lists don't have overlap, and you don't want to make sure your pop-up subscriber list doesn't have your active subscribers, you've got to manually go through and trim these lists up by going through manage subscribers, non-subscribe people, and then entering their email addresses. So that was another really good question. The last question is, MailChimp works well to communicate with people that have already signed up to receive your emails. But how the heck do I get people to sign up to receive my emails? If I scour the web for emails for my target audience, people complain and ask how I got their emails. How do you organically get people to sign up for your emails without spamming them to begin with? This was a really good question for a couple different reasons. The first reason is you're not allowed to scour the web and grab people's emails. People have to opt into your emails. It's technically against the law to spam people. So don't just go around Google and find people's email addresses and then add them to your MailChimp account because they could report you as spam. And if you have too high of a spam reporting, MailChimp could suspend your account, or even worse, they could blacklist your domain. Like Gmail and Hotmail will just blacklist your domain, prosperly.com, and then if you ever try to email someone from support@prosperly.com, they'll just never receive that email because you've been blacklisted as a spammer. The same thing goes with buying email lists. If someone's like, hey, I've got an email list of 2,000 people, I'll sell it to you for $100. Do not buy that email list because it's the same thing. It's against the law. People will ask how you got the email list. They'll report you as spam. You get your account suspended, or you'll have bad deliverability in the future because you don't look legit to the email providers. So to answer the second part of the question is, how do we get people to organically sign up in the first place? First off, check out the PDF, growing your list section. There's 4 different suggestions that we have. First one's pop-up opt-ins. So you can see here's a little screenshot of what the pop-up looks like on prosperly.com. If you'd like, you can go to prosperly.com and you can see that pop-up happen in real time. For that, I use Opt-in Monster, a service called Opt-in Monster that is simple. I just copy and paste code in my website, and then it shows me this pop-up. Another thing that you can use with Cratejoy is in the App Store. You can use SumoMe. SumoMe has a little pop-up thing that they have set up for them, so you can use their pop-up, which I think has like 1 or 2 free templates, and then it costs like $10 a month for the rest of their templates. You can use that. Another thing that you can do is have exit intent pop-ups. So when someone's going to exit the web page, so let's say I'm at my website, and I'm starting to head up towards another tab, or I'm starting to head up towards the exit button, or in a Mac's case, it's on the left-hand side. As my mouse starts to navigate up, an exit intent pop-up will pop up on the screen and say, hey, before you go, we have this special offer. And so you can see this example right here of this t-shirt, wait, we have a special offer. So exit intent pop-ups are also really good for capturing emails. Besides that, consider cross-promoting on other channels. On Facebook, you can actually add a MailChimp tab. And so this is a MailChimp tab that I use on Prosperly, which is get 10% off for life. And all people have to do is add their email. So it's a good way for me to get the 600-700 followers or whatever I have on Facebook to kind of be adding to themselves to my email list as much as possible, at least. The final way to organically get people on your email list is to make call to actions and offers on your site. So this example here in the bottom right is from Cratejoy, from start.cratejoy.com/blog. So just subscribe and receive Cratejoy blog updates in your inbox. It's a great way to get people's attention on the right-hand side. People want to see blog updates. They want to read inspiring stories. They want to get more tips and stuff like that from us. So it's a good incentive. For Prosperly, which might be more applicable to your business, you can see down here at the bottom I have get 10% off the best organic and artisan crafted products for life. Enter your email, and you can just drop your email in and hit sign up, and that'll directly send them up straight for the email list. Another thing that you can do is if you do have a blog, use your blog as lead gen. I created a small blog. It's nothing really crazy dynamic. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I just have a couple posts on it. I feature different boxes on it. But right here is just another way for me to get people's email addresses. Here we can see this new pop-up, awesome in your inbox, recipes, inspiration, and more, plus win a free box. And people enter the email address in, they sign up, and they're on an email list. Same thing right here, get a free box, here's the email address. And I have these on all the pages. So it's just creating a blog or something of the like to just increase organic traffic and then hopefully capture more leads is just another good way of organically grabbing more leads for your newsletter lists. So that's the gist of the webinar. This is what we went over a couple weeks ago. This will be available on subscriptionschool.com. I'll make the PowerPoint available. I'll make this PDF available. And if you have any questions, you can leave comments on the Subscription School post. The Subscription School post will be subscriptionschool.com/videos/essentials-of-email-marketing. And it'll be up there forever. And if you have any other questions or you have other comments about the webinar or something else you'd like to learn, go onto that page, leave your comments, we'll answer them. And we're really excited about seeing you grow your email list and get more customers. Thanks again for watching, and best of luck.